Hey everybody, Bryan Broaddus here, and welcome back to the Stack here on Crown Global Media. I'm joined here by my scouting buddies, the best eyes in the land, Iisha Morrison and Zach Wolchuk. Guys, great to have you back as always.
Yes.
How's drafting been going? How's scouting been going so far? You know me, I got to ask questions about players so far. Getting through your list?
Yeah. It stinks, and we talked about this, but anytime you have these players now in the new NIL era, we might have to deal with this more.
Yeah.
They decide to go back.
Yeah.
So it hurt. Had to take a couple of players off the stack.
Yeah.
And Kamari Washington, the Oregon defensive tackle, that one hurt. Mateo Uiagalelei, who we referenced a little bit, the defensive end at Oregon. A lot of these players deciding, hey, beneficial for me to go back. So that one stinks when you spend a couple hours on a guy.
Yeah.
But otherwise, all good.
But you're ahead. Because remember, I was ahead on, was it BB? Yes, it was. I was ahead on BB.
Yep.
I was like,
the year before, BB decided he wanted to go back. So that does help for the next season.
Yeah.
You're like, I've already got an idea who this player is.
I happened to watch a Brigham Young running back yesterday for about 40 minutes and then realized that he was going back to Brigham Young. So that nothing worse than that.
it's a rookie thing. It happened to me my first year in the draft
Yeah.
show. I was like, I love this player. Y'all was like,
He went back.
yeah.
he going back. How do y'all feel about these players, wanting to return? Do you think that it's for some guys, I think it's beneficial, and then
Yeah.
it's such a toss-up. They're
I think
kind of
the
betting
money-
on themselves.
The money's too good.
With
The money's way too good.
The NIL.
Yeah, the NIL money is way too good. And I think that's what happened is some of these kids probably are talking to talking to teams, talking to agents, talking to teams, and they're saying, well, your guy's probably a third-round pick, or your guy's a fourth-round pick, your guy's day 3, whatever. And all of a sudden you go back to school and you can make $3-4 million doing that.
Yeah.
I could see why guys are going back to these things.
Especially positionally as well. I mean, when you start looking, like we're going to talk about, you start looking at this class. We talked about the depth at the defensive end position,
Right.
the depth at the corner position. Some of these guys, next year, some of these guys might go higher,
Yep.
depending on. But with this class being so deep, you're going to see guys maybe fall and make less money than what they might have made before.
No, you're absolutely right about that. I just, like I say, just be alert out there if you're doing your scouting on your own. Check and see if your guy's coming back. Don't waste your time like the old crusty guy here. I wasted my time, and
It
that's
happens to the best.
Oh, that's the
yeah.
worst.
Well, I hate it when it happens that way, but here we are.
I do. Okay, before we get into it, I do have a question for you.
Yeah.
guys.
Yeah.
Do you think we will see? Do you think we'll see more kids play their college careers, make millions, and call it a day?
Ooh, just decide I don't want to play anymore.
Well, because the
I've made
reality,
my money.
yes, because the reality of football and we listen to it on draft night. How many guys say this was a means to end for me? I'm the first college graduate of my family. This is me trying to establish wealth. If they can establish that in college. And they don't have to sacrifice their bodies in the league. I mean, obviously, if you have the competitive spirit, you're going to want to keep playing. But for a lot of guys, they're playing because they love it, but they start playing because of survival.
Yeah.
So what happens? Like, I'm just wondering if we're going to see more guys do what you're talking about,
Sure.
go back to school, and be okay with 4 years, 5 years playing at the collegiate level and making their funds.
Yeah, well, especially if you're in a situation where you're a player your freshman year and you're making $4 million.
Right.
And then the next year you transfer, or maybe you go to that school and hit them for $4 million and $4 million, so you got $8 million in the bank. And then you now decide, okay, I'm going to transfer to another school and I'm going to maybe make $5 million at this school. And then you go and you hit them one last time. I mean, if you could bounce 3 times and say put away, say $16 million or something like that, $12 million. It makes a lot of sense to be able to say, yeah, I'm not interested, and maybe it's like the wear and tear and I don't want to do it. And I just want to, maybe you want to take that money and go do something else. I couldn't imagine, the thing I thought that would stop football is parents. I think the parents are the ones that are going to stop football. They're going to letting their kids play football. That's the thing I always worried about. But to your point though, if you're making $16 million and you're kind of like, well, I can maybe go to the NFL, or I can maybe not go to the NFL.
There's so many guys that we hear. You've been in the locker room. I've been in the locker room. You've been in the locker room. Guys will be like, I remember Barry Church telling me, I didn't love football like that.
Yeah.
I played because I had to play.
Yeah.
And so I just
Barry wanted to be a journalist, a news, like an anchor guy.
It's just something I'm thinking about with guys.
Yeah.
I feel like we're seeing more guys return. Obviously, we're seeing the transfer portal go crazy. We're seeing a lot of guys come out older. I just wonder if that's something we might see.
I think college is too fun. I think college is fun for these kids, and the fact that you can make $3-4 million being in college and having fun. Look at Indiana's team. I mean, if you go and look at Indiana and Miami and playing, Indiana's one of the oldest teams in college football.
Yeah, 23 to 25 year olds.
They don't want to. I mean,
like a pro team.
Yeah.
I don't want to grow up.
I hadn't even really thought about that. I think I could see it coming into play maybe for the second contracts.
Yeah.
Like, maybe they get their rookie money, especially if you're a high first round pick. But then it's like, okay, once that 4 or 5 years is done, do I want to continue to do this for another 4 or 5 years?
Sure.
Or maybe it's time for me to get out quick. And it started with like Chris Borland, I think, that linebacker from Wisconsin that was the 49ers for the concussions.
Yeah.
Like, you've seen some of these players get out of the game earlier than we would have seen before. Luke Kuechly. Patrick Willis, right? Especially the linebacker position. Running backs, maybe that happens. But I think that's a fascinating topic because I think you could very well be onto something. If they can make a lot of money in college and then maybe they're a high draft pick, I cash in on that rookie deal,
and then
I'm done.
Business. Yeah, I just think that the NIL and the UIL money and things like that have changed and will change how guys feel about the game. We've heard about it on the coaching side is, the drive for the game, things like
the
that.
love.
So much.
You love football.
Yeah.
And I hear that a lot, but the reality of it from a psychological standpoint is, again, a lot of these guys play to survive.
Yeah.
And if they get to a place like they're, playing in NFL, a lot of them are working to get there for the financial gain.
Sure.
If they can feel that and experience that in college, and we talk about the physical part of this game and all that stuff, I wonder if that's going to happen. We're going to see more guys return and then things like that. So that's just something I want to ask you.
I think it's
very
an interesting discussion. Today, just to give you a little idea on the format, I'm going to run through some safeties with my guys.
What would?
But I also want to run through. There's some mock drafts that I've been looking at, and I wanted there's some mock drafts when it comes to where the players are, and I'm curious about what my guys think about some of the pairings here, and just if they would like this pairing. So I just want to run through a few of those, and like I said, I want to get through some of these safeties because I think it's interesting, especially if you're a fan of the Dallas Cowboys. I mean, what are you going to do at safety? I think you need to keep a keen eye. If Downs is not available from Ohio State, they're at 20 or at 12. But what are the options that you have, especially if you move back in the draft and have the opportunity to pick up another pick? But some of these mock drafts, I want to run through and see what you guys think about this. Give me a kind of a thumbs up or thumbs down on this one. Pro Football Focus, their picks for the Dallas Cowboys at pick 12 and pick 20. They have Keldrick Faulk, the defensive end from Auburn, getting picked at 12. Mm-hmm. They have C.J. Allen, the linebacker from Georgia, getting picked at 20. Zach, I'll start with you.
Okay.
Faulk, Allen. How do you like those two picks for the Dallas Cowboys from Pro Football Focus?
I'd probably lean a thumbs down for that one. Now, it's not, and we've talked Faulk and Allen on our previous show. I wouldn't hate it, but I wouldn't love it. And the thing is, with Faulk, I like him more at 20. I think that other people will scoff at that and say, like, how in the world is he not a top 10 pick? Because he's got all the size, the measurables are there.
He's got the momentum.
The edge. Yeah. Absolutely. He can stop the run. As I mentioned, I've got kind of the Clowney-like comp for him.
Sure.
Where I think he's a guy that's going to be a really good pro, but is he ever going to be a double-digit sack guy? And I think if you're the Cowboys right now, you're looking for, can I try and find, with that pick at 12, a double-digit sack guy? So for Faulk, I'd wait on that. And then C.J. Allen, I don't mind at 20. I think that's probably where you're going to need to get him.
Right.
And I do like the player a lot. There's other linebackers I might like more. You guys know my affinity for Jacob Rodriguez from Texas Tech, whom did declare for the draft. Anthony Hill Jr., I think, is another guy that I'd have in that conversation. But If I had to say thumbs up, thumbs down, I'd lean thumbs down. There's probably other directions I would go depending on that board.
More about Faulk than about Allen.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
I think
More
Faulk
about
at 12 is the one that has me a little bit, I don't love it.
Iisha, your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I feel the same way about the Faulk pick. I just think it's for what Dallas is needing. I don't get it. I mean, I do understand the ability, the natural ability that he has, and the length that he plays with. The run stopping ability is insane. Yeah. And I know we haven't talked about it, and I know we don't want to talk about it that much. But I understand, that's what Marshawn Kneeland was drafted for.
Right. Right.
You know,
your de facto tank replacement.
Tank replacement.
Yes.
Yeah.
Marshawn Kneeland was drafted to be that big guy that can maybe play inside sometimes. Sure, can set the edge, has the size, all those things, and motor, like we just talked about with him. But he's not here, obviously. So maybe Dallas is looking to, we haven't talked about it, but maybe Dallas is looking to replace a Kneeland who they took early to come in and take up Tank's spot. But I think that Dallas needs a speed rusher.
There you go.
Or at the very least, a linebacker that can do some outside linebacker stuff, can blitz, can come off the line and things like that. And there's multiple guys that could do that. I'm cool with this C.J. Allen pick. We talked about this. But yeah, I'm not a fan of Faulk at
Yeah, I think to me the thing about Faulk would be that that's a big guy. It's a 6'6".
He's a huge dude.
285-pound guy, and you're saying, Brian, what's wrong with a 6'6", 285-pound guy? I actually hit the nail on the head. This is a situation where you need rushers. Mm-hmm. You need people that get after the quarterback. I mean, look last night. You watched the playoff game between the Texans and the Steelers. 4-man rush, and not everybody could be Will Allen or Will Anderson and those guys, but that's the kind of defense you're looking for. That's what you want to build right there. Mm-hmm. So I don't have a problem with Allen. I do have a problem with Faulk though at 12. All right, Yahoo. Go ahead. I'm sorry. I should go ahead.
Is Faulk where he is because he is
6'6", 285?
Yeah, it's the size.
It's the
He had a good 2024, they say.
But when you're evaluating as a scout, you're looking for certainty.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And a lot of people feel certain that this guy is going to translate to the pro level because of all the measurables, because of all the size. Do y'all think that's why he is so high right now? Is that it's an easy evaluation.
I can't figure out. I know this. I think what happened is media scouts caught him in 2024 early when they didn't have any 2025 tape. And I think as they get through the 2025 tape, he's going to start to go back. Or media scouts are going to get with the scouts that they know, their scout buddies who hit these schools, and they're going to say, well, man, you got this guy way too high. Get this guy way too high. I personally, I kept seeing his name as a top 5 guy, and he's been mock drafts, some top 5 stuff. I can't myself. I can't. Yeah.
Is he a tuned-down player? That's my question.
Yeah.
Because you see Auburn take him off the field at times on third down.
Right.
And is that worth a top 15 pick?
Now, do you gentlemen, let me go to his notes. Do you gentlemen expect for him to be able to develop as a pass rusher? Because we got to evaluate him where he is, but also give him room to develop.
Yeah, I just worry about, where's the quick twitch guy? That's the thing. If you're talking about the Dallas Cowboys, I'm not saying that Keldrick Faulk is not a really good player. I just know what Dallas is, what they need, me watching them play all season long. Where's the pass rush? Mm-hmm. I don't know if this guy gives you that pass rush.
I agree.
You need somebody. But I'm going to give you somebody here. Okay, this is what Yahoo does. Yahoo does this. Yahoo gives you David Bailey, edge from Texas Tech, and they give you Avion Terrell, the corner from Clemson, is what they give you. Iisha, familiar with both players?
Yes.
Tell me about what you think about what Yahoo did by giving the Cowboys David Bailey, edge Texas Tech, and then Avion Terrell, the cornerback from Clemson.
Wow, what is Avion? How I was getting mixed reviews on his size. What
he's a tiny DB.
He's a $180 for sure.
5'11", 180. One of my tiny DBs.
He's feisty though.
Dude, chip on his shoulder.
I think I would think I would be okay with this. You think he can play nickel, huh?
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You did?
Yeah.
I would be okay with this. I think that you're getting a little bit of that speed rusher that you're looking for, that guy that can bend the corner.
With Bailey.
Yes, with Bailey.
Right.
And then also, too, you're getting a feisty guy that is sticky in coverage. I watched Terrell a little bit last night, and the temperament is what makes me excited. Like you said, he plays big for his size.
Scrappy.
He has the blitz ability as well.
Sure.
You've been looking for. You need to have somebody that can do that off the edge. When you talk about, we just talked about it the other week, Dallas, actually Jerry and those guys, they understated the loss of Jordan Lewis.
Yep.
This is a guy that I think kind of fits that undersized chip on his shoulder. He can really get through trash on these crossing patterns and things like that. Mm-hmm. I would be okay with that corner and then Bailey as the
rusher.
Yes, I think that's an okay
So
combination.
you're okay with Yahoo what they did then on there?
I'm okay with it now. Who I want to see, who do I have over Bailey besides Ruben Bain?
Yeah.
I mean, Bain is probably the only other guy I have above him.
Yeah.
Who do you have above him?
I've got Arvell Reese, Ruben Bain, and
R.L.
David
Reese.
Bailey.
Yeah.
And we're projecting R.L. Reese in a sense, but Bailey is a DN.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I
wouldn't die.
A plus.
I wouldn't die. I would be okay with it.
I'd be excited because I think
Talk to me about
I
Terrell.
think you're getting probably the best pure pass rusher in my opinion in David Bailey in the class. You're adding that speed element. I think he is a power rusher as well.
Mm-hmm.
We talked about that. Like, is he more of a waist bender instead of a knee bender? And I think you're right about that, Iisha. But Terrell, I put in my notes. I think you're spot on with the Jordan Lewis stuff. Like, he reminds me of Lewis. This dude has a chip on his shoulder. He plays scrappy. The play temperament is there. The forced fumble ability. I mean, I haven't seen a corner be able to force this many fumbles. 8 forced fumbles, 3 of them recovered just in 31 out of 39 games.
He'd be punching at that ball with his little self.
And he plays big for his size.
Yeah, he does.
Like, you do see at times against big receivers, will he be, is that a challenge for him, the contested balls? But he competes. He battles. He's one of these guys, to me, I love what you said about run through the trash on the crossing patterns. He does that at a high level. He can play press man. I think the footwork makes up for it, has zone ability, physical. I'm a big fan of his game. The size limitations, I just wonder, as we've talked about, do some teams knock him? And I got his brother wrong.
Yeah.
His brother, who's a star right now, A.J. Terrell with the Atlanta Falcons.
Yeah.
I didn't love what I saw coming out of Clemson, but his brother's certainly smaller. But for his size, man, he plays big.
Yeah. And we talked about Bailey. I remember in watching him, I felt like he plays the run like a linebacker, not a defensive end. He's going to sift through and all that stuff. I like how he flattens his rushes, and again, he has that spin move. He has a couple tools in his toolbox, but I think he will be able to, expand that pass rush as he get. But very productive player as well, and we know that
Very
that's
much so.
important. So I would be okay with this.
With
I wouldn't die.
No,
I wouldn't die.
With potentially 16 names on my draft board in the first round. Both these guys fall into that.
Talk about it.
Yeah, they're both in that mode. I'm not. To me, if you're talking about if we did Faulk and then Allen, to me that's like 2 second-round guys on my board. I have neither one of those guys in my first-round stack. Now, if you talk about Bailey and Terrell, they're both fit into that top 15 right now for me. So I'm absolutely on board with. I love the way that Terrell plays. Like, he is aggressive for somebody that small. He is not afraid of being up and stepping up and making plays, and I respect him for that. Okay, ESPN now goes to this would be Jordan Reed. Came up.
It's crazy, Sil.
Yeah. Jordan Reed says he picks for the Cowboys. He's got Sonny Styles, linebacker for Ohio State, and Cassius Howell, the defensive end from Texas A&M.
Okay.
Zach, I'll go to you on this one, though. What do you think what Jordan Reed did with Sonny Styles, linebacker, Ohio State, Cassius Howell, edge from Texas A&M?
Yeah, this would be another thumbs up for me. I've got Styles as a first-round player, and Howell is right there for me. I mean, I think if you're looking at the guys at 20, Howell's probably, along with Akeem Mesidor. I've got Mesidor over Howell.
I do too.
In my stack, but it goes David Bailey, Akeem Mesidor, and then Cassius Howell. So I'd be all for it. I mean, I know, and we've talked about this with Gavin Dawson on our show, the G-Bag Nation. I'm not getting off of Sonny Styles. I see physical ability.
Yeah.
But the athleticism to me, the having just played the position for 2 years, and you can see the
Converted
growth.
safety.
Converted safety.
Yeah.
Played safety his first 2 years there, switched him to linebacker in 2024, second most tackles on the team during their national championship run. And you saw it, the Miami tape, little underwhelming. In position, just didn't finish at times, but his ability to shed blocks grew throughout the year.
Yes.
He physically, the talent is there for him. Similar, and I don't want to scout the helmet here, but Ryan Shazier, who the Cowboys loved, super, the size similar, athleticism, sideline to sideline ability. But here's the difference for Styles and I think some of the other linebackers in the class, other than Jacob Rodriguez. Elite cover guy. And he gets it. And that's the safety in him. Like, you see the mental processing. You can see him, whether it's man, if he's got to step up, crossing patterns, he understands his responsibilities, the zone awareness. To me, he's a guy, his best football's ahead of him. And some of this is, hey, I need to see it on tape, but can I project ahead? And I think Styles is the best linebacker in this class. And we pick apart these guys. I think at the end of the day, sometimes as myself, as I've learned this, I got to fall back on my initial thought.
Yeah.
I don't want to get talked out of, talking to whoever it is. I see this, I see that clip. The actual personality of some of these guys and what you hear about the medicals and maybe certain traits of how much they want it and their competitiveness and their love of football, that I can put into the evaluation. But usually your initial film study
is the right one.
That's what I want to go with.
Trust your eyes.
And I'm not going to get talked off of Sonny Styles.
No, man. You said a lot of stuff that made me happy. I thought that this gentleman maybe was the most sound tackler that I had seen to this point. And again, I think that he plays better when he's free and he's working off the ball. I liked how he will read and cut off those running backs.
Yeah.
And when he scrapes, he's not just he's hitting people on the way. You know what I'm saying? I understand, a lot of people talk about, I love that you brought up the fact that I think he did take a step this year in disengaging with blocks and being able to shed. And the coverage ability, like you said, his ability to attack angles, it has to come from the safety background and what he's able to do. I do think he is still learning how to play a little bit more under control because he's just baby nugget. But I agree. I loved how he watched. One thing that stood out to me, too, that I think is important for linebacker is how he played the RPO.
Yes.
I think that he reads the RPO a lot more sound than some of the other running backs, linebackers that I watched in this class. We know how much that has hurt Dallas in particular. We know how many quarterbacks that run the ball are in the league now. I want a linebacker that can read the RPO well. Yeah. And so I do think that that's something that stood out to me that I think is a little extra on what he already is able to do.
100%. In last year's draft, all-team captains, right, leadership guys. That's kind of what Shoddy looked for. You talk with people at Ohio State and you read some of the stuff. He was one of their big-time leaders on defense. Him and Downs were two of their top alphas, and he's also got the bloodlines there. Lorenzo Styles, Sr., his dad, I'm sure you're very familiar with him. And then his brother, Lorenzo Styles Jr., is now playing at Ohio State after transferring from Notre Dame. So that is a super athletic family.
And you would be cool with Howell.
That's what I was going to ask you guys about Howell. Is everybody okay with that? Are
you kind of not loving Howell at 20? That's
a little rich for you.
That alerts me like, ooh, I don't think you have
that look like that's
Howell.
A little rich for you. Kind of like Faulk is a little rich for me there at 12.
I mean, I only have 2 defensive ends right now that I think are first, but Howell's right there.
Yeah.
He's right there. And I think at 20, unless there's calls that maybe somebody else is going to take him because he is one of the only other pure edge rushers in this class. And we talked about it, the durability, 55 games in total through his career. This guy has a lot of, I know we had to talk about it, but he has a lot of room to, I'm not going to say outside, a lot of room to grow as a pass rusher. So it would be right on the fence for me.
Okay.
I like the explosiveness right in the first step.
I agree.
He's got that, and some of these other guys don't. Let me ask you this. I watched Mizzou, Notre Dame, LSU. He crushed LSU.
Yeah.
And Notre Dame, he made some huge plays in that game to help him win it, especially late goal line snap. I think I've referenced that before. Texas, and then against Miami.
Yeah.
Miami, he struggled.
Where was he?
Yeah, in Miami, he struggled.
Where was he in those last 2 games for A&M? And how much does that then have to factor in? Arguably the 2 best teams they played.
Right.
He did get bullied in those 2 games, and he will probably get knocked. I've already seen maybe the arm length issue, 6'2", 248. Is he a little bit smaller? He's kind of that tweener body type. I liked a lot of his tape and the productions there, and I thought he was a pretty complete player. I think he plays the run really well too. Yeah. But is it a concern, the Texas and Miami games, that he really did not have an imprint on those games at all?
The thing with, I kind of feel like that at 20, I have him as a second-round guy.
That's what I was about to say. I'm like, I don't have him in the first.
I don't have him in the first. But to me, I wonder if Cassius Howell at 20 is a situation where you got wiped out.
Or
that you were kind of in that mode where, like, okay, we can't trade out of here. You probably want to take him a little bit later than 20. Yeah. I think the stack will be interesting for me. He might very well, when it's all said and done, be at 20. But I don't know. Right now, I kind of feel like I'm like going, I'd like to have him. I think there's some things. I think there's some pass rush there to him.
Yeah.
As much as he stands up and stuff like that. I mean, I think there's some stuff. I just wondered if they would think of that as, did they have him that high? Would they have him that way? So, okay. The final one I'm going to do, and then I want to get into these safeties. I'm going to leave myself some time for these safeties. Again, this is USA Today. They went with Sonny Styles, who we've talked about, at 12. But they went with Brandon Cisse, the corner from who we've talked about from South Carolina. So Styles, Cisse. How do you feel about that combination?
That's probably my favorite of the three. I mean, I like the Terrell one.
I think we just punched Iisha in the stomach.
I didn't.
Because I'm in on taking Sonny Styles at 12. I am. Now, if there's other players, if like Caleb Downs is there, obviously that's not a conversation for me. If David Bailey's there, I think that's an interesting battle.
Yeah.
Like, who am I going to end up having higher in my stack? Probably Bailey. Same thing with Bain. I'd probably take Bain over Sonny Styles as well. But Sonny Styles is going to be hard to move off for me at 12 unless you want to go with one of the corners.
Right.
Like Mansour Delane from LSU.
Yeah.
But I love the idea of Styles, and then at 20, whether it's Terrell, whether it's Cisse, who is
McCoy maybe. McCoy slide because of injury.
Taking my top corner, and Cisse very well could be that guy on the board there. So I like that tandem.
How do y'all feel about Dallas taking, if they were to take a McCoy? How are y'all feeling? I'm indifferent because I feel like he is pretty far removed from the injury.
Yeah, it's a whole year now. I mean, he got hurt.
He could have played. That's what I was. Yeah. I was reading he'd have played this year for Tennessee.
I think we're going to feel a lot better about him, combine and all that stuff like that. I feel like that we're going to feel a lot better about him as a player there. So, I understand. There might be something that where would you take him or Delane at 12?
What sets apart Cisse from Terrell to you?
I got him higher.
Cisse is a little bigger.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then what else? What else? Look. What sets these players apart?
I'm gonna hit my notes here. I'm
gonna let you get to it because I want to know what sets these guys apart outside of size. I'll wait.
They're pretty darn close. I mean, I have Terrell higher than Cisse
because you got a sickness.
I like
these small. He got a sickness.
I just like the scrappiness in which he plays, man.
It's true.
Man,
that competitive
I'm
nature.
You guys right.
Yeah. Come on. Then let us know, Scout.
Yeah, okay. This kid's a transfer from North Carolina State, and he'll be just 20 years old when he's selected in the draft.
A baby nugget.
And he has an element of speed to his game. You can see on tape how well he moves, he runs, the burst, the catch-up speed. He can be a difficult guy to get away from. He can run with most receivers that he plays against in the Southeastern Conference. He's ready to line up in any scheme you ask him to play. He's a good zone cover. His reactions are good. He can line up on the outside, play man. He can run with anybody. He's a physical player. He can play press coverage. He'd be that kind of corner. Mm-hmm. I do feel like he could do a better job of tackling, though. That is, and I could see where South Carolina coaches would like to see him make some more plays in that area. But the feeling is he might be focusing on the NFL. I was talking to a scout about this. Maybe maybe not throwing his body around some, that he might be focusing on the NFL because we've seen him tackle better, but
Business decision.
Yeah, exactly. So he doesn't have as many pass breakups or interceptions in his career, and feeling those. Now, here's the last line.
I'm waiting.
Iisha, you ready for this one? Avion Terrell from Clemson might be a safer player and play longer at a higher level, but scouts really do like the way that Cisse has come on. So that might be something that we need to think about. And it reminds me very much of the Patrick Surtain
J.C. Horn.
And J.C. Horn when it was, if you want the guy that could play now and might be the most consistent, you draft Surtain. And that's what scouts will do. Give me the sure guy. Coaches tend to gamble on the guy who might be a little bit more off schedule when the way he plays.
Sure, and
I'll tell you that. I don't know. Have you guys seen Hood from Tennessee?
I like Colton.
Have you seen Hood? Colton Hood?
Yeah.
Not yet. Where is it?
Okay,
is he a corner?
You'll get to him. There's a guy that plays with just
reckless abandon.
Reckless,
like
just a really good athlete.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly.
He's super
Hood,
physical.
Tennessee.
Yeah.
Now he's a much better press man corner.
Yeah,
he's
I just feel like to your point. Now you're going to tell me, Terrell, you like him because of the consistency. And the scout guy in me is going to say, well, wait a minute. I've got this Cisse that can cover and he can run and he can drive and he can do all those things. So I kind of feel like that combination for me, if you said of all the mock drafting stuff that we just went through, Styles
and Cisse, you're getting better immediately.
Yeah, I think you're helping your team a lot.
And like I said in episode 2, I think Cisse can kick inside and play slot.
Yeah.
If you want to keep Bland on the outside.
So,
all right.
Okay, I just want to stir the pot.
No, you did. You did a good job. All right, Iisha. Okay, we're gonna go to something now, a position that not many people will talk about, but I want to talk about because I just know on looking at the Dallas Cowboys, I mean, for years I've tried to move on from safeties to the point where I've had players come after me for trying to move on from safeties. But I want to talk to you about some safeties, and we all get what Caleb Downs is. I mean, Caleb Downs, if he somehow gets at 12, he has to be a consideration for your Dallas Cowboys. But I wanted to ask you guys about a couple other guys, and I'll do this. Zach, I'll start with you on this one. Kamari Ramsey, the safety from USC. Tell me a little bit about what you know about Kamari Ramsey and what he does.
I'm in your business.
So Ramsey, I put a third on Ramsey, but he's 6'2", I watched him. I went back and watched their bowl game, the Las Vegas Bowl, against A&M.
Right.
Incredible.
Yeah.
He was fantastic. And he's from, as I mentioned, USC, redshirt junior, 4-star recruit coming out of high school, 10th ranked safety in the country per ESPN. He transferred from UCLA.
Right.
So he started 11 games as a redshirt freshman, then got to USC in 2024, third on the team in tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, 1 interception, 5 PBUs. Now, this past year didn't record an interception, his most recent year. Now, I think he's a true free safety.
Yeah.
This guy can flip his hips and run with ease. I mean, he moves extremely well. Really impressive range. You can see him communicating pre-snap. He's getting everybody lined up where they need to be, switching things off. He can close downhill. He will tackle in the run game. You definitely see all of this in that 2024 bowl game. You see every element of what his strengths are. Can blitz off the edge. He showcases coverage ability, closing speed. He's not the most physical tackler.
Yeah.
Like, he will throw his body in there, and it's not like he's scared to do it.
Yep.
But it's not like he's a form tackler kind of guy. He sacrifices the body. I love the speed, can cover ground in a hurry. But I don't know about some of his game compared to the other safeties that we're going to get to here. I think he's well-rounded. He's got a lot of ability, but I wanted to see more production and coverage.
What made you put him in the third round?
I think it was the lack of plays on the ball. Yeah. Because he definitely is one of these guys that you can see, the coverage ability is there, his ability to track, to read, diagnose, play the quarterback's eye, see what's going on.
But he didn't do it enough.
but I didn't see it. Like,
Yeah.
you just don't see the production there. I don't see him making plays on the ball. I don't see the interceptions. I don't see the PBUs, the passes defense. And I'm saying, you've got the talent.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where's the playmaking here? So that's why I put him in the third. But the ability's there. He'd immediately be the best safety on the Cowboys.
Iisha, just crush with everything Zach just said.
Yeah, I
Crush
mean,
it.
I'm wondering. Well, first of all, where are you getting these stats from?
It's research.
Jesus.
I looked at the USC website.
Well, I'm only asking because like I read his numbers. I thought that he had. I mean, this year he had a little bit of a down year. I want to mention that he did play at a position this year. He played in slot.
Yeah.
A lot more this year, and I think you would see him going to the slot. You'd expect more plays on the ball,
Sure.
like you were saying. I will say, obviously the guy's versatile. You talked about the zone recognition. I like him in off coverage more. A lot of these safeties, as we get into them, I talk about them a lot more. A lot of these guys at the top level, maybe the top 5, they're really good at looking. You see them looking at the quarterback's eyes. You see them reading the quarterback. I will say, to your point about the tackling, I wonder about his play strength. I wonder about, the physicality that he's able to play with. I will say, and supporting the run is something that he will do. Like you were saying, even though the size is not there adequately, this guy will come down and close and at least work to tackle. I think he's kind of a floater too, though.
He does. He does.
Floater.
He likes that. He likes to kind of observe and then attack. And he is one of these guys. Like, I love the competitiveness. You saw him chase down a play from the opposite side of the field to save a touchdown. I think it was their game against Notre Dame. If he doesn't get there, nobody else is.
Oh, no, he
the
runs,
recovery speed, very, very impressive with him.
Yeah, the run stops stand out. I mean, he had 20 in 2024. He had 5 run stops this past year. I think he dealt with, was he a little banged up?
Yeah, he did miss some games this year.
Yeah, he's a little banged up this year, but I think the size maybe is something that people are a little concerned about. I do think that he can mirror decently in man, and he is pretty fluid in his movements. It starts getting a little wonky once he gets too deep downfield. I think that those back pedals get a little choppy with him once he has to open up a crap ton. But if you let him watch the QB's eyes and float and things and come downhill and be into tackle, I think that he does have it. I just want his play strength to improve a little bit more. But he is disruptive. He's disruptive when he needs to be when he comes downhill.
I kind of felt like this guy was pretty good playing in space.
I said his open field tackling was impressive.
Yeah, that part of it,
yes.
I would. Zach, I think you're onto something here, though, about the player. I mean, to me, I would like to have seen him make more as like a guy that could be like a true free safety. I'd like to see him make a lot more plays, especially with his ability to play in the slot and stuff like that. Iisha, I think you're absolutely right about the eyes. I think when the guy sees it, though, and he did save that Notre Dame. I mean, Love is set sail down the sidelines, and he runs him down from the middle of the field. So you kind of see that a little bit about that. So I did see the guy blitz a little bit too.
Yeah,
which gave me a little bit of a stuff, but
blitzability up.
Yeah, I kind of feel like though that it'll be interesting to see how this guy tests. I'm going to see him like if he has the ability to play in the slot. I think there's going to be some value there for him for sure.
I think it's going to be important with a lot of these safeties as we get into them to see how they test, because I feel like so many of them are rangy and like floaty and stuff and can come downhill, run the alley, but a lot of them too, I don't know if they have the speed on the back end.
Yeah,
to carry.
if the ball goes over the top.
Yes, a lot of them that we're going to talk about are guys that play really well when things are in front of them. But if you're telling these guys to play single high and be able to, go sideline to sideline, drive and stuff, do they have the ability, like the closing speed? Yes, but the carrying speed,
right?
I don't know if it's there, which is normal, I guess, for safeties. But that's something that I felt like was with him too.
Staying with you on this one, Iisha, we're going to go to A.J. Haulcy from LSU. And I there's a kid from my alma mater that I've seen. He's a transfer from University of Houston. Actually, I think he's a double transfer. I think he's been to a couple of different places.
Yes, University of New Mexico.
New Mexico, and then Houston, and then but he reminds me very much. There was a guy I was with a long, long time ago named Leroy Butler, who is in the Hall of Fame right now. And actually, Darren Woodson is a better player than Leroy Butler. I'll go on record and say that. I've been with Brian Dawkins. I've been with Leroy Butler. I've been with I've seen these guys. Darren Woodson should be in the Hall of Fame. I just remember the body type, a guy that was a corner, and then the body type, and then he's like a bigger, thicker kind of guy.
Yeah.
And so I was wondering your thoughts on A.J. Haulcy from LSU.
Well, yep, he is 22 years old, so he's just a nugget, not a baby nugget.
Yeah.
6 foot 215. I want to say he's a little bit bigger than that, but whatever.
Yeah.
You talked about the.
I think he's in the 222 range.
I think
Yeah,
he's
he looks a
bigger
little
than that.
chunky.
Yeah, I can't wait for us to get officials on these guys because I've got a lot of mixed numbers. But you talked about the strong, thicker build. I wrote that down. He did just commit to the Senior Bowl, so we'll get our eyes on him. All-American in 2025, first-team All-Pro SEC in 2025. Well, all-team, first-team All-SEC, rather.
Yeah.
When you talk about one thing that I wrote down was it's interesting with his size that he's able to still maintain the ability to sink into his hips and redirect to the ball.
Okay.
I feel like this gentleman plays with a lot of urgency. He just has a nose for the ball. I think his size is harder for quarterbacks to navigate with ball placement because of the length, because of the size.
Right.
He can affect the target a little bit more, I think, with that size. I said that the recognition and the closing speed allows him to make plays on the ball. Obviously, he had the 10 interceptions and 9 PBUs this past year. I love the attitude and the confidence that he plays with.
He's got some swag. He's got that dog mentality.
And another thing, too, is that he's violent.
Yes.
But one thing that I wrote down with every safety that I looked at that is violent is penalties. 0 penalties from this guy in 2025.
He's super smart.
So how dope is that? With Cowboys in mind.
Oh, yeah.
Talking about the penalties, especially the defensive ones that cleared away, big plays on third downs. You got a guy that wants to play violent, but really understands how to toe the line of being violent, but also playing under control. I said I think his size and play strength helps him in run support. So I don't think he's getting dug out of gaps.
Yep.
He's able to contain pretty well, and I like how he identifies, and he will run that alley. I feel like he's going to be suited because of his high-low ability as a robber.
Okay.
I feel like as a robber.
In the middle of the field playing.
Yes, I think the size is, and again, he's an aggressive tackler. With his size, he takes up space. I wrote that in my notes.
Yeah.
He is a guy that just kind of takes up space. I will say, are you gentlemen, do you think he has the speed because of the size?
That's the question I had, the
to
speed.
be a center fielder.
Yeah.
And that's what I said.
Yeah.
I want to see these guys test because
Mm-hmm.
a lot of them look rangy, but you're also like, do you have the speed to play single high safety, or are you going to have... I walked away watching a lot of these guys saying these guys will play well in split safety.
Yeah.
But as a single high, I don't know if he has a speed.
He's not twitchy, and I don't think he's fast.
No, he's not fast.
He doesn't have the lateral. He's a little stiff laterally.
He's a little stiff laterally, but you do see, I think the recognition does allow him to play a little bit faster than what his body...
Yeah, he's smart. He's a smart,
very
he's
aggressive,
a very smart player.
But yeah, that's my little breakdown.
No, you
go
got
ahead.
it.
See
How
what
about
you- see what you
that?
got.
Yeah, Zach, what do you got on A.J. Halsey, LSU?
Yeah, I loved the tape. I mean, he's played a lot of football.
He's sick.
44 starts.
Durable.
This dude, his freshman year in New Mexico, Brian, Iisha, he had 24 tackles and an interception in one game against Fresno State. Now, this might make Cowboy fans a little sick. That was the most tackles since Kenneth Murray had 28 for Oklahoma against Army. So that was a little bit of a piece of information I studied. I was like, oh, wow, we got a Kenneth Murray reference in here. But I loved him. I think he's interchangeable. I think he can play free. I think he can play strong. He spent time at both. He's almost built like a running back with that lower half.
He's big.
Yeah, he's got tree trunks for legs. In fact, I wanted to ask you, like, physically, his size reminds me a little of Roy Williams.
Yeah, I was kind of thinking Roy's a little bit thicker. But Leroy Butler came to mind when I was watching him play safety, the way Leroy Butler had that
great pull.
like body armor on him and stuff like that.
Like Leroy Butler wouldn't come to my mind.
Yeah, well, it's just an old thing. Yeah,
I was thinking, like, he does remind me body type of somebody. Like, so I put it.
Well, Roy Williams would be fair.
But I think he's a better cover guy than what Roy was.
Right.
But, I mean, he's a guy. We've talked about reading the quarterback size. What he does, and he might, other than Caleb Downs, I think it's from the safeties that I've watched, he's got the best ability of avoiding blocks. This dude has a knack for just avoiding the trash. He's just there. He cleanly finds a way to just get to the football, and he finds a way to avoid contacts. He understands pursuit angles. He understands where he needs to be to kind of move around linemen, move around other tight ends. I don't want to see him in man coverage in the slot.
Yeah.
I don't think that's his game.
No.
I think he needs to be away from the line of scrimmage. I think he can play single high, but he needs to be able to see it, read, diagnose, go. I think the acceleration to fill the alley in the run game, attack the football. I've talked about the awareness he can play with. He can cover from depth. I think when he can undercut the football, he sees it, boom, he's going to undercut it, can read the backfield, makes plays in space. I was really a big fan of his and the special teams element.
Sure.
He's going to get on the field immediately because he was a great special teams guy his freshman year at New Mexico. And then at Houston, he blew up. He had 5 interceptions in 1 year in 2024. But your LSU Tiger, I mean, I know you don't want to like overly sell some of your kids. But I
also oversell Delane.
I think he's the second best safety in the draft.
Okay.
I really do.
So you have him in the second round player.
Second round.
Iisha Morrison, second, third round. If you had an idea where you had to take, you probably have to get a pick, in day 2 to maybe grab this guy, right? Are you thinking about him at 20?
How many safeties do y'all have in the first?
Only one. Downs.
One, yeah.
Just one?
Yeah.
Okay, I was concerned. I don't know. I have a couple. I think I have a.
You got some more better than him?
I think I have.
Can I interest you then in this Oregon kid I'm about to talk to you about?
Let's see. I think I have McNeil.
Thieneman?
How about Thieneman? Dillon Thieneman from Oregon, who's a transfer from Purdue.
Yeah.
Talk him up.
This is an Indiana native.
Yep.
He started as a freshman at free safety. We're looking at 6 foot 205.
Yep.
Just about. What you got on?
That's kind of what we're working on right now.
205. We're in line there.
Okay, I'm just checking because.
Stress you out?
Yes. He was an All-American as a true freshman. This guy can play. 38 starts, 281 tackles on his year. On his time with Oregon. I think that the versatility is what stands out initially with him is that he can work in the box. He can work in the slot. He can work at free safety as well. I think he did a lot of his work. I think he transferred rather because of his usage.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because his second year, I feel like they had him doing a lot more close to the line of scrimmage, and I'm not sure if he liked that. So he transferred, I think, so he could do more. This is a guy that plays with great burst. He's explosive. He has fluid movement through his back pedal. We saw that he has 6 interceptions as a freshman. So that's something that he can make.
Ball skills.
The ball skills. I think he has good straight line speed, but I don't know if he is just like fast.
Right.
Which is normal for a safety, I'm assuming.
Mm-hmm.
I felt like he can play with play with range in the run game, and he really cuts off the backside edge well. I think he attacks angles well as a tackler. He's instinctive pre-snapped with his recognition, and he, again, reads the eyes of the quarterback. That's something we've been... I do think that this is more of a center fielder guy.
There you go.
Than the last guy we just
There you
talked
go.
about. This
there
is a guy that can play center field, that will read the quarterback's eyes. He's a little, I think that he can have a little trouble with some of these more twitchy guys vertically, but I absolutely love how he runs, like you talked about, avoiding blockers. Man, this dude, when you talk about running the alley, when you're talking about coming from depth and getting through all of that foolishness, this is a guy that can do it.
He's good in space.
The only thing that I was worried about with him after watching him, like I said, was the twitchy guys. These twitchy guys and dealing with guys that are a little bit more twitchy. But other than that, I see a really stout player, and I would take him above
Haulcy,
a Haulcy.
Yeah.
Well, you can be wrong about that. That's okay.
Okay, whatever.
I think Halsey's the better the better guy that I'd want at depth personally.
If it does you any good, I don't agree with you either. I agree with her.
Okay, you can both.
No, that's
both
okay.
Be wrong. Now, I do
We're
think
not gonna
he's also
disagree.
a second round player to me. Like I think Thieneman's really good.
Yeah.
So it's not like we're fighting too much about
Yeah.
it, but I do love him in the screen game. Like you see him process. Like this guy, you can tell he watches tape.
Yeah.
Because he sees it like, okay, what's the formation? How are they lined up? I'm gonna go. I did see a guy that doesn't always take the best pursuit angles for me personally. I think the angles could be refined a little bit. But I think that he's a dude that he's probably going to shoot up boards because he can fit in any scheme.
Right.
Yeah.
I think he fits any defense, any way you want to play him, because he can play. He's super productive around the line of scrimmage. If you want to play in the box as a strong, he can do that. I think he can obviously be a free safety. He can be interchangeable there. He can high point the ball when he's playing against tight ends. Like you'll see, maybe it'll go over him. Like the Minnesota game, they had a seam shot on him, and the tight end used his size to go up and get it, boxed him out. But like he's in position.
He's in position.
It's just one of those where it's like, okay, it was a good ball placement by the quarterback. Tip of the cap to you. But his ability to play with his eyes, navigate the trash, really productive player and kick returner.
Yeah.
I thought that was another element of his game, and he's just a tackling machine. 96 tackles this year for Oregon. I think he led the Big Ten amongst all DBs the year previously after he transferred over from Purdue. So the production's there, played at a high level, always around the football. There were just little things when it comes to, I think he times his blitzes well. I think of all the safeties we've talked about as a blitzer, he's the best guy. Thieneman, that is. But there were just certain things about him that I just liked Haulcy a little bit more. But Thieneman's a fun player.
Yeah,
Brian.
Yeah, I think so too. I think you guys nailed this guy. I think this guy's really kind of a true free safety in the way he plays. He loves being around. He loves playing downhill. He loves running. He loves attacking the ball. I think he's kind of some straight line stuff with him. I think there is some quickness to him. The way he's able to react. I think he's super smart. You go back, you can watch him play at Purdue, and he was making a ton of plays on a bad defense. So, I just him going to Oregon, better situation. Some, the way he's played. I have him as the second best safety in the draft. I have Downs number 1, Thieneman number 2, and then kind of Ramsey, Haulcy. Those are the guys. Okay. We're going to probably get to a guy with McNeil Warren from Toledo as a guy. Another guy we'll add a little bit later on. But man, I think it's a good group of safeties. I think depending on what you want to have you got some guys that are interchangeable. You got a guy that can maybe play the robber, maybe play down a little bit more with Haulcy. So I think, if the Cowboys, if you trade back, I don't know. I mean, we'd all talk about taking Downs, Ohio State at 12, but I don't think we would take any one of these guys at 20. But if you backed up, and I think that's where we would consider more of these guys. But I think Dallas, I think they have to look at these safeties. I don't think you could just sit there and say, oh, okay, we're fine with Hooker and Wilson and all that and be good about it.
No, this isn't. I mean, just
this is a good group.
Yeah, getting into this. We were talking about it before we came on air. It's just the safety class.
Yeah.
Like you said, it's like the flavors of ice cream.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You could find some quality out of it.
There's a lot of guys that can fit into different schemes that can come in and play immediately. I'm excited about this safety class. Yep. I hope they get some love.
Yeah, they need to get some love. You're absolutely right about that. All right. That'll do it for us today.
We're done already?
Thank you.
Bow,
yeah,
bow,
man.
bow.
It goes by.
You're having fun.
I always thought draft coverage when the hour goes so fast when it happens. But again, thank you to my guys. Thank you, Iisha. Thank you, Zach, for coming along with us today. Thank you guys out there for following along as well. We're going to be here every Tuesday and Thursday breaking down players, kind of going through mock drafts, going through scenarios, anything that we might hear, we're going to bring to you here on the Stack. Again, I'm Bryan Broaddus for Iisha Morrison, Zach Wolchuk. We will see you next time. Make sure you keep scouting and trust them eyes.